what you want. Come feel this sensation. Sliding smooth and low like a secret invitation. So smooth. Every tone whispers soft. Can you feel it? The undertow. Pull me closer, baby. You know where I wanna go. Ooh, feel it, baby, nice and slow. Yeah, I let your rhythm consume my soul. Yeah, listen to my sweet surrender. Now that feels so soft, I know, so tender. Let your body sway, baby, my voice has you gliding. Feel it, whispers in your ear, feel the thrill as they're colliding. Steamy tone, sultry breeze, oh, it's got you mesmerized. Follow the sound, darling, I'll touch you where it tantalizes. Ooh, feel it, baby, nice and slow. Yeah.
I've got 2 intros for you guys. You got to choose one or two. Which one do you like the best? Because this is going to knock your socks off. And here we go.
Drop that bass. Coming in hot. Ladies and gentlemen, Dictionary Diva.
Well, so that's the first one, but this is the latest version of that. So you tell me which one you like better, ladies and gentlemen. 1 or 2. Here goes 2.
Drop that bass. Coming in hot. Ladies and gentlemen, Dictionary Diva.
Whoa!
I know which one I like better.
I have a preference myself.
Which one do you like better, Diva?
Number 2.
That's the one I like better.
Definitely number 2. And
I
now
like number 2 better.
I'm like, dang, I should put some makeup on tonight.
I told you.
Well, no. And the music's the same, and you told me that you like the bass.
I do like
and
the
I
bass.
said banjos and bass would just be perfect.
It is perfect. It is perfect. Dang, that's good. Shoot, Shizzy, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Visually, I like number 1 better. All that naughty Santa suits. I need my little Santa hats. I'm getting all nipply in here.
Well, the intro to the show did say it will touch you where it tantalizes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yes, it does. Oh, yeah, that was
Wow.
that was fun. I mean, like I said, I was falling asleep knocked in that last one, and it was just because I had listened to that song like at least 100 times. And
It was like a
just
lullaby. Yeah.
it was a lullaby. It was a
was.
diva lullaby.
Diva lullaby.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Schooner.
Yeah, like literally
Me,
50 seconds, 56 seconds long. It's under a minute,
Perfect. That's,
and I was
it
It
feels a
was-
lot shorter than that. Yeah.
well, you know,
Yeah.
It's where you need to
have
go.
room to
It's
grow.
just-
Gotta
yeah.
have room to grow. You know.
Hey, you only need a minute.
That's when she's not going to complain
I'm just
about a
saying.
short time. Yeah. 37 seconds. That's all I need.
Ooh.
And we're going to end the poll right there. Boom, boom, and boom. You've got, and everybody else is like in number one.
Oh.
I still
I'm
like the
telling
second
you,
one
the
better.
visuals.
Okay.
Second one.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
I-
but I will say that 43% of the people just hit the thumbs up.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
The winner is I hit
winner
the
is-
thumbs up.
Well, and what I could do is I can keep number one over here and send you number two to use.
Okay.
That works.
That works. That
Or I
works.
can use them both, just whenever I feel like randomly introducing Diva.
Switch them back and forth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. But yeah, it like hit perfect. It
Mhm.
creating that song. I got it on the first try of getting the intro,
Oh,
and
wow.
the third try of hitting the last part of it, the second part of it.
Wow.
I was like, ooh, like it hit hard.
It's
Yep.
fire.
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 Yeah.
Fire. Fire.
Fire.
Well, we should have a couple other people possibly join us tonight. We will see. We'll see. You know, they might be digging themselves out of snow, which happens.
Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I have worried about that because I was watching Max Velocity. He's like my new favorite weather dude
Oh yeah.
on the YouTube, and he was talking about it's just this band of snow and ice,
Well-
kind of just at the Mason-Dixon line. Which
Well, what's funny is it's supposed to rain here tonight, but the temperature is going to increase as the night goes on.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like it starts out in the mid 30s, but it gets up into the mid 40s by sunrise. So that's weird. Weird.
so weird, man.
Yeah. Well, we do have Kasim, Alibaba's brother,
Ooh.
discovered and killed by the robbers. This is chapter 1. There once lived in a town of Persia 2 brothers. One was named Kasim, the other one Ali Baba. Their father divided his small property equally between them. Kasim married a very rich wife and became
Smart
a
man.
a wealthy merchant. But Ali Baba married a woman as poor as himself and lived by cutting wood and bringing it upon 3 asses into the town to sell.
What was he selling, the wood or the asses?
I'd be selling that ass.
Selling that ass. Yeah, he's a pimp.
Pimping it out.
Well, one day when Ali Baba had just cut enough wood in the forest to load his asses, he noticed far off a great cloud of dust. As it drew near, he saw that it was made by a body of horsemen, whom he suspected to be robbers. Well, leaving that ass, he climbed a large tree which grew on a high rock and had branches thick enough to hide him completely while he saw what passed beneath. The troop, 40 in number, all well mounted, and armed. Well, I would hope they have arms. Came to the foot of the rock on which the tree stood, and there dismounted. Each man unbridled his horse with their arms, tied him to a shrub, and hung about his neck a bag of corn. Then each one of them took off his saddlebag, because those saddlebags on a man are heavy, which from its weight seemed to be Ali Baba, full of gold and silver. One whom he took to be their captain came under the tree in which Ali Baba was concealed, and making his way through some shrubs, spoke the words, "Open sesame." As soon as the captain of the robbers said this, the door opened on the rock, and after he made all his troop enter before him, he followed them. When the door shut itself again, and then the door shut itself again. Yeah,
Now, was this located on Sesame Street?
it was. They were looking for.
That's what
Big
my cousin
Bird.
Leroy is. I swear he saw the whole damn thing. I done heard this story. Quiet!
Them there robbers, they stayed some time within, and Ali Baba, fearful of being caught, remained in the tree. And as that door opened again, the captain came out first and stood to see all the troops pass by him. Then Ali Baba heard him make the door close by saying, "Shut, sesame." Every man at once bridled his horse, fastened his wallet, and mounted them horses again. When the captain saw them all ready, he put himself at their head and returned the way they had come. Ali Baba watched them go out of sight, and then waited some time before coming down, wishing to see whether the captain's words would have the same effect. If he should speak them, he found the door hidden in the shrubs, stood there before it, and said, "Open sesame." Instantly the door flew wide open. Instead of a dark, dismal cavern, Ali Baba was surprised to see a large chamber, well lighted from the top, and in all sorts of provision, rich bales of silk, brocade, carpeting, gold and silver ingots, and great heaps, and money in bags. Well, Ali Baba, not being a stupid man, walked boldly into that cave and collected as much of the gold coin which was in the bags that thought his asses could carry. Bitches, take these bags. When he loaded them with bags, he laid wood over them. That's what you do. Start smacking that ass.
What you got to
with the
do, you
wood.
smack that ass and then you lay that wood.
I like
You load them down with gold. You got to get them gold chains on the hose. He laid that wood over them so that they could not be seen, and passing out the door for the last time stood before it and said, "Shut, sesame." Well, that door, it closed up on itself, and he made his best of his way to town. When he reached home, he carefully closed the gate of his little pathetic yard, whipped out his wood, carried those bags into the house, and they were empty before that bitch of a wife that he had. Great heaps of gold dazzled them pretty blue eyes of hers. And when he told her the whole adventure and warned her above all things, "Bitch, be quiet!"
That's some strong wood.
Shut your mouth, you're going to get cut. They going to smoke your ass, bitch.
It's called having a third arm.
Well, I'll smack you.
They should have called this The Adventures of Pookie.
We should call it The Adventures of Pookie.
Oh,
I was like, where'd he go?
where'd he go?
Where'd he go?
I said open sesame. It didn't work.
The problem
I said
was
that
you
to
said close sesame and you disappeared.
I said it to my wife. I said open sesame. It didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
She said you got to do a little more than that.
Yeah,
What
you got
the
to
hell?
So you got to get some liquor in me first.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Well, who wants to be Ali Baba here? I think Yamaha would be a good
There you
Ali
go.
Baba.
Well,
Ali Baba.
I'm going to do it in a funny voice if I am.
Well, I would certainly hope so.
Well, I will dig a hole and bury it. Oh.
Well, Ali Baba would not let her take the time to count it as she wished, but said,
I will dig a hole and bury it. I don't know. So awkward.
I don't know.
But let us know as nearly as may be how much we have. I will borrow a small measure and measure it, and while you dig a hole.
As she ran away to the wife of Kasim, who lived nearby, and asked for a measure, the sister-in-law, knowing Ali Baba's poverty, was curious to learn what sort of grain his wife wished to measure out, and artfully managed to put some suet at the bottom of the measure before she handed it over. Ali Baba's wife wanted to show how careful she was in small matters, and after she had measured the gold, hurried back while her husband was burying it with borrowed measure, never noticing that a coin had stuck to its bottom.
What?
Said Kasim's wife as soon as her sister-in-law had left.
It's Ali Baba. Gold in such plenty when he measures it. She's now Irish. I don't know how.
Hey, it's an Irish tale.
It's an Irish tale.
Whence has he all this wealth?
And envy possessed her breast.
Oh my God, her titties are going wild. They're going all over the place.
Girl, you better put them titties up. It ain't feeding time. Shit.
Well, when Kasim came home, she said to him,
Aye, Kasim, you think yourself a rich man, but Ali Baba is much richer. He does not count his money. He measures it.
and then she explained how she had found it out, and they looked together at the piece of money, which was so old that they could not tell in what prince's reign it was coined. Kasim, since marrying the rich widow, had never treated Ali Baba as a brother, but neglected him, beat him about the head and shoulders. Now, instead of being pleased, he was filled with a base envy. And
He was
early in the
pistol
morning,
whipped.
after a sleepless night, he went to him and said, "That's you, Paul Storm."
Oh, okay.
Ellie, baby! You pretend to be a wretchedly poor, and yet you measure gold. My wife found this at the bottom of the measure you borrowed yesterday.
Well, Ali Baba saw there was no use of trying to conceal his good fortune and told the whole story, offering his brother part of the treasure to shut his damn mouth.
I expected as much, you son of a bitch. But I must know just where this treasure is and how to visit it myself when I choose. Otherwise, I will inform against you and you will lose even what you have now, because I'm going to take it all!
Well, Ali Baba told him all he wished to know, even the words he must speak at the door of that cave to get it to open. Kasim rose before the sun the next morning and set out for the forest with 10 mules bearing great chests, which he meant to fill. With little trouble, he found that rock and the door, and standing before it, spoke the words,
Open sesame!
The door opened at once, and when he was within, closed upon him. Here indeed were the riches of which his brother had told. He quickly brought as many bags of gold as he could carry to the door of the cavern, but his thoughts were so full of his new wealth that he could not think of the word that would let him out. Instead of saying sesame, he said, Open,
Open, you son of a bitch!
and was much amazed to find that the door remained fast shut. He named several sorts of grain, but still the door would not open. Kasim had never expected such a disaster and was so frightened. The more he tried to recall the word sesame, the more confused his mind became. It was as if he had never heard the word at all. He threw down the bags in his hands and walked wildly up and down without a thought of the riches lying around him. At noon, robbers visited the cave. From far away, they saw Kasim's mule straggling about the rock, gallop full speed to the cave, driving the mules out of sight. They went at once with their naked sabers in their hands to the door.
Why was it naked?
Why are there naked
They was
sabers?
there to play swords.
Oh,
Just a tip.
they doing some soul fighting is what you saying.
Well, they're just going to poke him a few times, that's all. which opened as soon as the captain had spoken the proper words before it. Well, Cassim had heard the noises of the horses' feet and guessed that them robbers had come. He resolved to make one effort for his life. As soon as the door opened, he rushed out and threw the leader down, but could not pass the other robbers, who, with their scimitars, soon put him to death.
Oh. Uh-oh. Who knew?
He's an asshole.
What a world! What a world! Sit down, you son bitch.
The first care of robbers was to examine the cave. They found all the bags Cassim had brought to the door, but did not miss what Ali Baba had taken. As for Cassim himself, they guessed rightly that once within he could not get out again, but how he had managed to learn their secret words that led him in, they could not tell. One thing was certain, there he was, and to warn all the others who might know their secret in following Cassim's steps, they agreed to cut his body into 4 quarters and hang 2 on one side and 2 on the other within the door of the cave.
Ooh.
This they did at once, and leaving the place of their hoards well closed, mounted their horses, and set out to attack the caravans they might meet.
Stop it. It tickles.
The manner of Cassim's death concealed. Well, when night came and Cassim did not return, his wife became very uneasy. She took that happy ass down to see Ali Baba for comfort.
She the hoe.
Of course she
That
did.
motherfucker gone. I can have
She
all
said,
I
need a
want now.
man. Can you come? Can you come?
a man.
And I know you got some dollars. And he told her that Cassim would certainly think it unwise to enter the town till night is well in advance. And by midnight, Cassim's wife was still more alarmed and wept until morning, cursing her desire to pry into the affairs of her brother and sister-in-law. In the early days, she went again in tears to Ali Baba.
That's what you get, girl. Being nosy.
That's right. Getting nosy. Oh, look, bitch, you got money. I need that money. He did not wait for her to ask him to go and see what happened to Cassim, but set out at once for the forest with his 3 asses. Bitches be working. Finding some blood at the door of the cave, he took it for an ill omen, but when he had spoken the words, the door had opened. Well, he was struck with horror at the dismal sight of his brother's body. He could not leave it there. Hastened within to find something to wrap around it. Laying the body on one of his asses, he covered it with wood. The other 2 asses he loaded with bags of gold, covering them also with his wood as before. That is a big piece of wood.
That's a lot of wood.
Then, bidding the door shut, he came away, but stopped some time at the edge of the forest that he might not go into the town before night. When he reached home, he left them 2 asses laden with gold in his little yard for his wife to unload. Bitches, get that thing unloaded.
Right.
And then led the others to his sister-in-law's house. Ali Baba knocked at the door, which was opened by Morgiana, a clever little slave, full of devices to conquer difficulties. But he wasn't going to put that guy back together. Wasn't going to put him back together. When he came to the court, unloaded that ass, he took Morgiana aside and said to her,
You must observe strict secrecy. Your master's body is contained in these 2 panniers. We must bury him as if he died a natural death. Go now and tell your mistress. I leave the matter to your wit and skillful devices. I'm shaking my head and everything.
I've never wanted the camera on more. I could see.
I am shaking my head. Yes.
I'm doing the whole bubble thing.
One Slurpee at a time.
They placed the body in Cassim's house and Charging Moriana to act well her part, Alibaba returned home with his ass. That's right, he took his ass home. Early the next morning, Moriana went to the druggist and asked for a sort of lodgant used in the most dangerous illness. When he asked her for whom she wanted it, she answered with a sigh.
Oh, my good Master Kasim. He can neither eat nor speak.
In the evening, she went to the same druggist and, with tears in her eyes, asked for an essence given to 6 persons whose life there is little hope.
Alas, I'm afraid even this will not save my good master.
Bitch, that's because he dead.
Shit.
Shit.
And then cut his ass up. You can't glue that back together.
Kind of hard to eat and drink when you cut into 4 pieces, woman.
He's
Oh my
very
God.
clever, okay?
And look who joins us.
Oh,
There he is.
the pineapple.
Hello, my friends. What is going
La
on?
la 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 la.
Hmm.
The pineapple has arrived.
What is going on, mother truckers?
Are you in snow?
Yeah, we have about, I would say, roughly 5.5 inches of snow, and it's continuing to fall quite steadily right now. So,
Well, that's about average.
That's the one thing you don't want to get bigger.
yeah.
Speaking of bigger, Kaiser, have you seen this yet? Have you seen her new intro?
No, I have not. Drop that bass. Coming in hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dictionary Diva.
Yes.
Yeah.
For real, dude.
Yo.
Yes.
Drop that bass.
Okay, yeah, that was, yeah. The banjo at the bass drop, I was like, that was unexpected, but it worked.
Yes, it does.
Oh well. I would
And I-
listen to music like that all the time if there was a genre like that.
Well, I think we could just go ahead and chalk that one up and say, hey, let's create that genre.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just call it Shizzy.
Techno banjo.
Techno banjo shizzy.
Techno banjo Shizzy. That's right. Well, we're gonna release a whole album of techno banjo.
Beat Joe.
Mhm.
Beat
We'll call it- We'll call it Nacho Libre. Country hip hop.
Call it lay in the wood.
That's like, yeah, it's like hip hop bluegrass, like in a way. It's like,
Yes.
that's a weird mix.
I like it. It's so
But it
good.
worked.
Yeah.
I know. I was first listening to it, and I was like, I don't know how this fits. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting it.
Yep.
I like it. It's picking up.
Spit some bars,
like
vanilla
it.
corn.
And then when
Vanilla
that bass
corn in the
drops
house.
there, it's just like, damn.
I need some corn, whiskey.
Uh-huh. Oh, you should hear the other versions of that. Those are much longer, but they're
Oh, really?
just as good. I'll let you hear them after tonight. Mhm.
Nice.
So if you want a longer intro, Diva, I could put that out too.
Okay, so let us get to the good and juicy stuff. What the fuck am I reading for?
Well, let's see. You could be the old cobbler in responding. So
Oh,
this
the
would be-
cobbler. Yes, they're good. Go to go make some shoes. Yeah.
And so
All
Diva's taking this first part because that is Baba. You'll be Baba Mustafa.
Ooh. Okay. I can do that. Sorry, I'm just a little distracted. I was that music, you know.
Gets
Oh my
you all hot
goodness.
and flustered.
It did. It did.
Gets the juices flowing.
It
don't you
gets
know?
the
Oh,
juice.
it certainly does that there.
Okay. I feel like we've skipped something. Have we
No.
skipped anything?
Okay.
No,
Well,
we're good.
here I'll say the next morning at
Oh,
daybreak,
yeah, sorry.
she went to an old cobbler who was always early at work and putting a piece of gold in his hand. She said,
Baba Mustafa, you must bring your sewing tackle and come with me. But I must tell you, I shall blindfold you when we reach a certain place.
Oh, I like where this story's going.
Ooh, that sounds awesome. Anyway, ooh, you have me do something against my conscience or my honor.
Oh, God forbid.
Oh, thank God.
Moriana putting another piece of gold in his hand.
Only come along with me and fear nothing.
Well,
The macho man fears nothing.
Well, after that line, I'm about ready to log off.
Baba Mustafa went with Moriana. At a certain place, she bound his eyes with a handkerchief, which she never unloosed until they had entered the room of her master's house, where she had put the corpse together.
Baba Mustafa, you must make haste and sew the parts of this body together. And when you have done, I will give you another piece of gold.
For that voice, I'd do a lot.
Shit, I don't even need to go. You hear me?
Oh hell no! I don't need that. I don't need no gold after that. Shit.
After Baba Mustafa had finished his task, she blindfolded him again, gave him a third piece of gold she had promised, and charged him with secrecy. Took him back to the place where she had first bound his eyes. Taking off the bandage, she watched him till he was out of sight, lest he should return and dog her.
Woof, woof, bitch.
Now it's your
Blindfolded,
turn to wear the
sorry.
blindfold, bitch.
And then she went home. At Kasim's house, she made all things ready for the funeral. Duly performed by the Imam and other ministers of the mosque.
Did
Your
you go
mic's,
underwater?
Hey, you sound like you're underwater, Shiz.
Yeah.
Give me just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Mm.
Oh
He has been
no.
closed caption for the
Oh
reality
no,
impaired.
he has gone now. Where'd he go?
Shit, he had to go down to corner store. You know what I'm saying?
He had to reset himself.
His pager went off.
The last time that happened, my father went to get Mentos and he never came back.
You too? Shit.
It happens pretty commonly in this part of the world.
That's the type of story that, like, you know, cross cultures and dimensions and shit.
Well, that should be better now, I hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it seems how she made all things ready for the funeral, which was duly performed by the Imam and other ministers of the mosque. Moriana, as a slave of the dead man, walked in the procession, weeping, beating on them titties, tearing out her hair. Kasim's wife stayed home, uttering doleful cries, with the women of the neighborhood, who, according to custom, came to mourn with her. The whole quarter was filled with sounds of sorrow. Thus the manner of Kasim's death was all hushed up. Besides his widow, Ali Baba, Moriana, the slave, ain't nobody suspected nothing of this. 3 or 4 days after the funeral, Ali Baba removed his few goods openly to his sister-in-law's house, which he was to live in the future. Because, hey, why not have one wife when you can have two?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
right.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, man, like women are like Voltron. The more you hook up, the better it gets.
I was thinking more like Mormons, but okay.
the money he had taken from the robbers was carried thither by night. As for Kasim's warehouse,
Ooh.
Ali Baba put it entirely under the charge of his eldest son. Part 3. Well, there you go. Next, Rita.
Oh, yes, okay. I will read in some voice I don't know what I have right now, but I will keep going with it because it's working. While all this was going on, the 40 robbers again visited their cave in the forest. Great was their surprise to find Kasim's body taken away with some of their bags of gold.
Where I certainly found out,
said the captain.
The body and the money had been taken by one of someone else who knows our secrets here. So for the sake of our own lives, we must try to find this little son of a bitch. What you say, boys?
The robbers all agreed that this must be done.
Harumph.
Well,
Harumph.
one of you, probably
Get a
Kaiser,
harumph
one of the
out of you.
boldest and most skillful, must go in that there town disguised as a stranger and try if he can hear any talk of that man that we killed. Find out where that son of a buck lived, and this matter is so important that the man who undertakes it and fails should suffer death. What say you?
Arr.
Arr.
Oh, yeah.
One of the robbers, without waiting to know what the rest might think, started up and said,
I submit to this condition, and I think it an honor to expose me life to serve the troop.
and this won great praise from the robber's comrades, and he disguised himself at once so that nobody could take him for what he was, a dirty robber. Just at
Your heart.
Just at daybreak, he entered the town and walked up and down till he came, by chance, on Baba Mustafa's stall, which was always open before any of the shops. The old cobbler forgot where he was, but he did decide to go to work.
Wait, that sounds familiar.
When the robber bade him good morrow.
Lost her place.
Divas. I should have warned y'all. I'm a little bit of a space kid.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to tell that in the pre-production notes.
Yeah, you should have warned everyone. I'm quite a bit of a space cadet.
Okay. Yeah, we left off the
And said.
quotation.
And said,
Honest man, you begin to work very early. How can one of your age see so well? Even if I were lighter, I question whether you could see to stitch.
You do not know me.
replied Baba Mustafa.
For old as I am, I have excellent eyes. You would not doubt me when I tell you that I sewed a body of a dead man together in a place where I had not so much as light as I have now.
A dead body.
Yes.
Exclaimed the robber, amazed.
Yeah, totally.
Answered Baba Mustafa.
I see you want to know more, but you shall not.
The robber felt sure he was on the right track. He put a piece of gold into Baba Mustafa's hand and said to him,
I do not want to learn your secret, no. Though you could safely trust me with it. The only thing I ask of you is to show me the house where you stitched up this poor dead man's body.
Oh, I could not do that.
replied Baba Mustafa.
If I would, I was taken to a certain place whence I was led blindfold to the house, and afterwards brought back again in the same manner. Oh, yeah.
Well.
replied the robber.
You may remember a little of the way that you were led blindfold. Come, let me blind your eyes at the same place. We will walk together, and perhaps you may recall this way. But I'm not going to be as gentle as the girl before. Here's another piece of gold for you.
And don't threaten you with a good time.
And this was enough to bring Baba Mustafa to his feet. They soon reached the place where Morgiana had bandaged his eyes, and where he was blindfolded yet again. Baba Mustafa and the robber walked on till they came to Kasim's house, where Ali Baba now lived. Here the old man stopped, and when the thief pulled off the band and found that his guide could not tell him whose house it was, he let him go. But before he started back for the forest himself, well pleased with what he had learned, he marked the door with a piece of chalk which he already had in his hand. Soon after this, Morgiana came out upon some errand, and when she returned, she saw the mark the robber had made and stopped to look at it. "Oh, what can this mean?" she said to herself. "Someone intends to harm my master, and in any case it is best to guard against the worst." Then she fetched a piece of chalk and marked 2 or 3 doors on each side in the same manner, saying nothing to her master or mistress.
Good Lord, a master and a mistress? What kind of kinky stuff is going on in this damn place?
They got something going on there. I'm just saying.
When the
Sounds like they're
robber,
in the villages.
when the robber,
Here's my
We got some
squeegee.
loofahs hanging around here.
Got them
We got loofahs all over the place.
Oh, dear
I guess we
Lord.
all just loofing around.
Oh. When the robber rejoined his troop in the forest and told of his good fortune in meeting one old man that couldn't really remember where he was, but they did help, they were all delighted,
All right, comrades.
said the captain.
We ain't got no time to lose. Let's get off at once. And we're well armed and disguised and enter them there towns 2 by 2s, join up the great square. Meanwhile, our comrade who has brought us the good news. Now go find out this house and decide what's best be done.
2 by 2, they entered the town. Last of all went the captain and the spy. When they came to the first of the houses which Morgiana had marked, the spy pointed it out. But the captain noticed that the next door was chalked in the same manner, and asked his guide which house it was, that or the first. The guide knew not what to answer to make, and was still more puzzled when he and the captain saw 5 or 6 houses marked in the same fashion. He assured the captain with an oath that he had marked but one, and could not tell who had chalked the rest, nor could he say at which house the cobbler had stopped. There was nothing to do but join the other robbers and tell them all to go back to the cave and do things that they do in the cave. Here they were told. Here they were
The
told
circle jerk commenced.
they all had
Now
returned.
for the orgy, followed by a light salad.
Why do we got this 10-gallon drum of lube here?
Yeah. Well,
Why-
This
why-
Diddy's house
Yeah.
again. Damn it.
I thought we broke into this already.
David did it.
Here they were told why they had all returned, and the guide was declared by all to be worthy of death. Indeed, he condemned himself, owing that he ought to have been more careful, and prepared to receive the stroke which was to cut off his head.
Oh, that sounds to me like, son, you should have maybe got that taken care of at birth.
Damn. Every part I read, the person dies. This is 2 now. Yeah,
It's like Game of Thrones.
it is. I'm like, okay. Shit, he dead too.
He's dead too. The safety of the troop still demanded that the second comer to the cave should be found, and another.
You don't want to be the second one to come.
In that cave, not in that cave, you don't.
Oh, and another of the gang offered to try it with the same penalty if he should fail. Like the other robber, he found out
Baba Nagila Baba
Mustafa.
my brain was gonna say Baba Black Sheep, and I was like, no, stop. Don't say that.
that'd have been better.
Don't say that.
That'd have been better.
So then my brain wouldn't let me get anything out. Okay. Baba Mustafa, and through him the house which he marked, and in a place remote from sight with red chalk. But nothing could escape Morgiana's eyes, and when she set out, not long after, she saw the red chalk. She argued with herself as before, and marked the other houses nearby in the same place and manner. The robber, when he told his comrades what he had done, prided himself on his carefulness, and the captain and all the troop thought they must succeed this time. Again, they entered the town 2 by 2s. But when the robber and his captain came to the street, they found the same trouble. The captain was enraged, and the robber as much confused as the former guide had been. Thus the captain and his troop went back again to that cave, and the robber who had failed willingly gave himself up to death.
They're just killing themselves.
All I keep thinking is that they'd only had a handwriting expert.
Right?
Yeah. If they only had a brain.
Healing over.
It's your turn, Yamaha. I apparently can't read today, nor can I follow directions and stay focused. So
How's that different from any other?
it's not really.
Yo, traveling fools.
Yo!
What's up, traveling fools? The captain could not afford to lose any more of his brave fellows, no shit, and decided to take it upon himself, the task in which 2 had failed. Like the others, he went to Baba Mustafa and was shown the house. Unlike them, he put no mark on it, but studied it carefully and passed it so often that he could not possibly mistake it. When he returned to the troop, who were waiting for him in the cave, he said,
Now, comrades, there ain't nothing we can do to prevent that our full revenge. And my ass is certain of that there house as I returned. I thought of a way to do our work. But if anyone thinks better, well, let them speak now so I can cut thy tongue from thy mouth.
Hell no! It's saying a damn thing.
He told them his plans, and as they thought it good, he ordered them to go into the villages about and buy 19 mules with 38 large leather jars, one full of oil, and the others empty.
I knew it was Diddy.
That's what it was. They were getting warmed up. Got our cans of lube.
Within 2 or 3 days, they returned with the mules and the jars, and as the mouth of the jars were rather too narrow for the captain's purpose, he just gonna dip it in and go to town. Oh, it's too small in there.
It's too small. I'm gonna have to make it bigger.
He caused them to be widened.
I told you.
Won't break out them walls. Having put one of his men into each jar with the weapons which he thought fit, and having a seam wide enough open for each man to breathe,
God!
he rubbed the jars and rubbed and rubbed and rubbed on the outside with oil from the full vessel. Thus prepared, they set out for the town, the 19 mules loaded with the 37 robbers in jars and the jar of oil, with the captain as the driver. When he reached Ali Baba's door, he found Ali Baba sitting there, taking a little fresh air after his supper. The captain stopped his mules and said,
I've brought some oil a great way to show you a good time at tomorrow's market. And it is now so late that I do not know where to lodge. Will you just do me a favor and let me just hang out with you tonight? Maybe we'll get a little snuggly.
Snuggle struggle.
It is chilly outside.
It's so chilly.
Though Ali Baba had seen the captain in the forest and had heard him speak, he could not know him in the disguise of an oil merchant, and bade him welcome. He opened his gates for the mules to go into the yard, and ordered a slave to put them in a stable and feed them when they were unloaded, and then called Morgana to get a good supper for his guest. After supper, he charged her afresh to take good care of the stranger, and said to her, Tomorrow morning I intend to go to the bath for the day. Take care to have my bathing linen ready. Wait a minute. Oh, I will give it to Abdallah, which was his slave's name, and make me some good broth against my return. After this, he went to bed.
Is that you, George Michael?
In the meantime, the captain of the robbers, went into the yard and took off the lid of each jar and told his people what they must do. To each in turn, he said,
As soon as I throw some stones out that chamber window where I lie, well, don't you take your time coming out, and I will join you at once.
Then he went into the house, and Morgiana showed him his chamber, where he soon put out the light and laid himself down in his clothes.
That's
to
not
carry
how that
out,
works.
Yeah. To carry out Ali Baba's orders, Morgiana got his bath linen ready and bade Abdallah to set on the pot for the broth. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
What?
What kind of broth we got here?
I say we
That's
making
just
people
kinda-
broth here or something.
A weird kinky thing right there. Huh?
They were out of blue buckets.
Is this pea soup? What is this?
Apparently they didn't have any bunny rabbits.
You like the soup? The broth is me.
Oh God! Oh God!
But soon the lamp went out, and there was no more oil in the house, nor any candles. She knew not what to do, till the slave reminded her of the oil jars in the yard. She thanked him for the thought, took the oil pot, and went out. When she came nigh the first jar, the robber within said softly,
Is it time?
Of course, she was surprised to find a man in the jar instead of the oil, but she saw at once that she must keep silent, as Ali Baba, his family, and herself were in great danger. Therefore, she answered without showing any fear,
Oh, not yet, but presently.
In this manner, she went to all jars and gave the same answers, till she came to the jar of oil. By this means, Morgiana found that her master had admitted to his house 38 robbers, of whom the pretended oil merchant, their captain, was one. She made what haste she could to fill her oil pot, and returned to her kitchen, light up her lamp, and taking a great kettle went back to the oil jar and filled it. Then she set the kettle on a large wood fire, and as soon as it boiled, went and poured enough into every jar to stifle and destroy the robber within. Jesus.
Damn, she is
Holy
vicious.
shit.
Holy cow!
Wow.
Damn.
She's good at this.
I got me some deep fried cocksucker. That's what I got. Deep fried asshole. When this deed, worthy of the courage of Morgiana, was done without any noise. Okay,
That's impressive.
because they wouldn't be screaming at all.
Right.
Yeah. It kind of hurts. As she had planned,
Bitch,
she returned to the kitchen with the empty kettle, put out the lamp, and left just enough of the fire to make the broth. Then she sat silent, resolving not to go to rest till she had seen through the window that opened on the yard whatever might happen there. It was not long before the captain of the robbers got up, and seeing that all was dark and quiet, gave the appointed signal by throwing little stones, some of which hit the jars, as he doubted not by the sound they gave. As there was no response, he threw stones a second and a third time, and could not imagine why there was no answer to his signal. Much alarmed, he went softly down into the yard, and going to the first jar, asked the robber if he was ready, smelt the hot-boiled oil, which sent forth a steam out of the jar.
Ew.
Bad guys too.
Yeah. Bad fried
Got some more of that
asshole.
bra for you.
From
It's people.
Soylent Green is made of people.
From this, he suspected that his plot was found out, and looking into the jars one by one, he found that all his gang were dead. Enraged to despair, he forced the lock of a door that led from the yard to the garden and made his escape. When Morgiana saw him go, she went to bed, very pleased that she had saved her master and his family, and had a whole bundle of fried asshole to eat in the morning.
I'm starting to think Morgiana is Irish.
Hi, maybe she is.
Oh my God. Ali Baba rose before day and went to the baths without knowing of what happened in the night. When he returned, he was very much surprised to see the oil jars in the yard and the mules in the stable.
Morgiana.
Oh, God preserve you and all of your family.
Said Morgiana when she was asked what it meant.
You will know better when you've seen what I have to show you.
Check out this deep fried asshole.
Yeah, look at my fine asshole. So saying, she led him to the first jar and asked him to see if there was any oil. When he saw a man instead, he started back in alarm. Yeah, you think?
No shit, Sherlock.
Do not be afraid.
Bitch, you just fried a man.
Said Morgiana.
He can neither do you nor anybody else the least harm. He is dead. Now, look into all the other jars.
Okay, now I'm just worried that you're
Do
going
I
to do
really
that.
have to?
Don't go to sleep, mother.
I don't think I need to look anymore.
I think it's time for me to go.
Ali Baba was more and more amazed and shitless as he went on, and saw all the dead men in the sunken oil jar at the end. He stood looking from jars to Morgiana. Still, he found words to ask. What the fuck?
Ballstorm.
Oh, is it me? And what is become of the merchant?
Aye, merchant.
Answered she.
He is as much of a merchant as I am.
Then she led him into the house and told of all she had done, from the first noticing of the chalk mark to the death of the robbers and flight of their captain. On hearing of these brave deeds from Morgiana's own lips, Ali Baba said to her,
You want me to do it? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
God, by your means, has delivered me from death and certain pudding pot poisoning. For the first token of what I owe you, I give you liberty from this moment. You no longer have to stay in the basement. Till I can fully reward you as I intend, and I think we both know what I mean.
Sleep.
Yeah, I'm never going to piss this woman off. Near the trees at the end of Ali Baba's long garden, he and Abdallah dug a trench large enough to hold the bodies of the robbers.
That's a big trench.
It's like a Civil War trench.
Yeah,
Just
no
dig
shit.
a mass
Yeah, just
grave and
Bloody
like dump them all in.
Yeah.
Throw some lye on them, you're good to go.
Well, they're already holed up.
This is just like, this is cold, man.
You
Like,
don't-
damn.
At this point, you don't even have to worry about the smell. They
Who are
cook.
the bad guys in this story again?
Oh, fucking Lorena Bobbitt over here.
I say
No, she left him alive.
Well, yeah,
She
that's
just took
true.
little pieces for her own pleasures.
Your business. Oh, this all my
dearly.
business.
Yeah,
There we go.
That's more
Your
like
business.
it. That's more like it.
Yeah.
I say even the German man in the corner is saying, "You need to chill out, man."
Let me tell you the one about a girl, two
That
heads
just
in a
sounds
bucket.
unethical.
When they were buried there, Ali Baba hid the jars and weapons, and as the mules were of no use to him, he sent them at different times to be sold in the market by his slaves.
Well, making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
Send her to go kill
Damn, he
people.
rich.
Yeah. We're opening up a Skipper's over here. Don't mind the smell. That's just some filet of soul.
I wonder what that was.
We be barbecuing.
Yeah.
I love the title of this one. She just cleans house.
Yes.
Jesus.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Awesome.
Hey,
Oh, I gotta do something because I always forget to do this. So you have to remember that's I've got these neat little stickers. See,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, the little stickers.
oh,
Yeah.
got a little super sticker
we gotta
from the
get
super
all that extra
skipper.
padding
Because he's
to
such
the
a good
hammock.
boy.
He's
He's a
Skipper
good
gave me
boy.
a-
Yes, he is.
There's
You find him in the dark, too.
That's what his wife says.
that's your star right there. Thank you very much, skippers. I appreciate it.
nice.
Very cool.
Yes. Okay. Ah. Did I go too far? Oh, that here
Yeah,
we go.
you went too far.
Number 5.
There he is. There you are.
There you are.
There I am.
Oh, okay.
Guys, read it.
Okay, I'll get on to it. The captain discovered and killed by Moriana. The captain of the 14 robbers had returned to his cave in the forest, but found himself so lonely there that his place became frightful to him. He resolved at the same time to avenge the fate of his comrades and to bring about the death of Ali Baba. For this purpose, they returned to their town disguised as the merchant of silks. By degrees, he brought them from his cavern movement. He sought to find stuffs to dispose of these. He took a warehouse that happened to be the opposite of Kasim's, which Ali Baba's son had occupied since the death of his uncle. All right. He took the name of Khoya Hussein. He's not related to that Saddam guy. Sounds like something.
That's his daddy.
He was Sodomite's cousin.
Oh.
It's really difficult to.
I know that cat.
You tell me that you
Found
have
him down in that hole.
you tell me that you have a dictator named Saddam. Okay.
You should see
Interesting.
Gamora. Oh my goodness.
He's a little bit of a miser, so he would be Saddam miser. Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway. And as a newcomer of this it was very civil to the merchants near him. Ali Baba's son was one of the first to converse with him, and the new merchant was most friendly. Within 2 or 3 days, Ali Baba came to see his son, and the captain of the robbers knew him at once, and soon learned from his sons who he was. From that time forth, he was still more polite to Ali Baba's son, who soon felt bound to repay the many kindnesses of his new friend. As his house was small and arranged with his father that on a certain afternoon, when he and the merchant were passing by, I don't know why I inserted a word in there, I'm sorry. A merchant was passing by Ali Baba's house. They should stop and he should ask them both to sup with him.
To what with him?
Sup. It's
Oh.
timey word.
Like sup.
I was picturing golf balls and garden hoses there for a second.
Give him the old hot Gluck
That
knife.
threw me off too.
Got a hot to a spit on that thing.
Oh, I bet they did.
Chop, chop, Gluck, Gluck. Let's get on with it. Anyway, this plan was to be carried out. The merchant, with whose plans it agreed perfectly, made as if to excuse himself. He even gave it as a reason for not remaining that he could eat no salt with his victuals.
What the hell's a victual?
Fuck if I know.
Food. It's food.
Them victuals.
Eating foods.
That's-
Yeah.
it's
that's
victuals.
where
The victuals.
Yeah,
The
that's where
victuals.
You know.
from.
Lord,
ain't never
don't you
seen
know
just-
what victuals are?
I mean, I thought
No.
y'all was a bunch of Americans. Evidently,
Lord
I was
have
just
mercy.
totally wrong.
Well,
How do you
I know
not
what
know?
victuals are. I just don't understand why he's sucking.
I mean, the last time I heard about Vittles was Operation Vittles, which became the Berlin Airlift. So, that's all I know.
I have no idea what that is.
I have
Anyway.
not heard of that myself.
I have not
Operation
heard of that.
Vittles and Operation Plain Fare were the two operations by the United States and
Right.
by Great Britain that created the Berlin Airlift.
My damn education. Dang it. So,
Man, I am uneducated.
Damn public school.
for real.
That's why
I find
I
that I have
skipped out
learned-
6th grade.
I have learned far
Wendy.
more listening to YouTube videos than I ever had in high school history.
Now I see the problem.
Oh, I
Thank
don't
you,
listen to
Wendy.
enough.
Ew.
Yeah.
If that is all.
Hey, I'm Alibaba. You.
Oh, whatever. Whatever.
I don't know who's who anymore. I'm so
I don't know.
Always trying to steal my goddamn line.
Somebody's got to
God,
Look,
look at that damn
look,
deposition again.
I will show you. I will show you no respect until Red comes back. Okay. Okay. Bring on Morgan Freeman, mother.
Oh, Morgan. Oh, Morgan. Oh, God.
We haven't had Morgan in a while.
A tried and true classic.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, quite.
Well, I don't know about that. if that is all,
Said Alibaba.
me and Andy need to not deprive me of the honor of your company.
Mm.
Ooh.
I already said Alibaba. I already said that.
Right.
Well,
He
what?
got you.
Oh, sorry, you already got that.
Yeah.
And he went to the kitchen and told Mariana to put no salt into anything she was cooking that evening. Thus, Kuga Hussein, I don't freaking know. I just need a glass of cognac here. Was persuaded to stay, but Mariana, it seemed very strange that anyone should refuse to eat salt. She wished to see them
Agreed.
what manner of man it might be, and to this end, when she had finished what she had to do in the kitchen, she helped Abdallah carry up the dishes. Looking at Kugia Hussein, she knew him at first sight, in spite of his disguise, to be the captain of the robbers, and scanning him very closely, saw that he had a dagger under his garment.
Oh, he was just happy to see her.
Is that a dagger? You're just happy to see me.
What is that?
It's you,
Who it's
Diva.
who it's a sword.
Oh, is it me?
Hmm.
Oh shit! See, I am not with it today. I see now why this greatest enemy of my master would eat no salt with him. He intends to kill him, but I will prevent him.
While they were at supper, Mariana made up her mind to do one of the boldest deeds ever conceived. She dressed herself like a dancer, girded her waist with a
Yeah, girl.
Yeah, girl.
I'm in love with a stripper.
Yeah.
from which hung a poniard, and put a handsome mask on her face. Then, when the supper was ended, she said to Abdallah,
Take your tabor and let us go and divert our master and his son's friend, as we sometimes do when he is alone.
Ooh, yeah.
I'll take that to go, please. They presented themselves at the door with a little bow, and Mariana was bidden to enter and show Kuya Hussein how well she danced. This, he knew, would interrupt him in carrying out his wicked purpose, but he had to make the best of it, and to seemed pleased with Mariana's dancing. She was indeed a good dancer. All those times in college paid off. And all on this occasion outdid herself in graceful and surprising motions.
So
She bump and grind.
surprising. Yeah.
I would be throwing a few quid at that. At the last, she took the tabor from Abdallah's hand and held it out like those who dance for money. Ali Baba put a piece of gold into it. Excuse me. Oh, that tripped me up. My God. Alibaba
It
put a
happens
piece.
sometimes.
I started and then you just had to.
God damn it, I can't work under these conditions.
Oh,
Okay, I got. Yeah, I'm coughing too much for this voice. I'm gonna have to change it up.
just use your regular voice. You got it.
Okay, fine.
When Kuya Hussein saw that she was she was coming to him, he pulled out his purse from his bosom to make her a present.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. But while he was putting his hand into it, Moriana, with courage worthy of herself, plunged the poignard into his heart.
Unhappy woman.
exclaimed Alibaba.
What have you done to ruin me and my family?
Oh, it was to preserve, not to ruin you.
Answered Moriana. Then she showed the dagger in Kugi Hussein's garment and said,
Look at him, and you will see that he is both the pretended oil merchant and the captain of the band of 40 robbers. As soon as you told me that he would eat no salt with you, I suspected who he was, and when I saw him, I knew.
Alibaba embraced her and said,
Oh, Morgiana, I gave you your liberty before and promised you more in time. Now I would make you my daughter-in-law. Consider.
He said, and turning to his son,
That by marrying Morgiana, you marry the preserver of my family and yours.
Yeah, dude, I'm just gonna say,
Daddy, you trying to get me killed? What the hell?
Dad.
You're gonna marry me off to psycho woman that boiled men alive?
Okay,
Another one?
You better keep your stuff straight, son, just in case.
She even peed in the pot.
son, I'm just gonna tell you right now, you better best behave yourself, or she's gonna turn you into Kentucky Fried Chicken. Goddamn.
I tell you what happened to the last like 40 guys that tried to get a hold of her. They in that grave.
That's one way of coming home to get her bringing dinner home.
She got a different kind of body count. Let's just say
that. Looked like somebody just walked over your grave.
the son was all the more ready to carry out his father's wishes because they were the same as his own. And within a few days, he and Moriana were married. But before this, the captain of the robbers was buried with his comrades. And so secretly was it done. And so secretly was it done that their bones were not found until many years had passed, when no one had any concern in making its strange story known. For a whole year, Alibaba did not visit the robber's cave. At the end of that time, as nobody had tried to disturb him, he made another journey to the forest and
standing before the entrance of the cave, said,
Open sesame.
The door opened at once, and from the appearance of everything within the cavern, he judged that nobody had been there since the captain had fetched the goods from his shop. For this time forth, he took as much of the treasure as his needs demanded. For some years later, he carried his son to the cave and taught him the secret, which was handed down in his family, who used their good fortune wisely and lived in great honor and splendor.
Good job.
Not to mention the son was scared out of his damn
was
mind
scared to
every day.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
He's so
He was like-
scared.
Like, I don't know if I want to be around this woman. She seemed a little crazy.
I don't know what you're so scared of. I'm just such a sweet and honorable, belly dancing, murdering woman. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Lady, you just turned 40 guys into shake and bake. No.
Shake and bake wasn't enough of it, was it?
Skewer. There were some skewer sticks there too.
Yeah.
Kebabs.
There were
That's what I was gonna
Shish
say.
kebab.
Yeah, kebabbed asshole. You're gonna get cornholed one way or another.
You might feel a little pressure.
Oh God.
Does it hurt?
Booty on a stick.
What you doing to me? It hurts so much. Oh, she cooked them all. Oh,
pretty rough.
well, let's see.
Woof.
What do we have here? I'm looking to see. Because there is another one here.
Hey, Monica and everybody.
Hey, Monica, how you doing?
Hey.
I do have another one for you. I just need to look and see if it works for this. Nope, it doesn't. Not enough dialogue. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's pretty cool. I don't know. I'm just reading because they have like some information here to help out the next story.
Oh.
Yes. So,
Ooh,
What?
now we got a dealer.
What are we doing?
yeah,
Mm.
this is called, and it goes in here because it gives a little bit of a backstory to it, like as far as the plot. This is from Robert Louis Stevenson. It's called Markheim. Is that right? Markheim.
Markheim.
Archive.
From the Merry Men. And the setting is there's no final model for the setting of this story affords. It's 3:00 in the afternoon on a foggy Christmas day in London. Markheim's manner and dimly lit interior of the antique shop suggested murder, garless clocks, and nodding shadows and reflecting mirrors seem almost to compel confession and surrender. And the plot is there's little action in the plot. A man commits a dastardly murder and then, being alone and undetected, begins to think. It is the turning point in his life, and he knows it. Instead of seizing the treasure and escaping, he submits his past career to a rigid scrutiny and review. His brooding over his past life and present outlooks becomes so absorbing that what bade fair to be soliloquy becomes a dialogue between the old self that committed the murder and the new self that begins to revolt at it. The old self bids him to follow the line of least resistance and go on as he has begun. And I think it would be beautiful. It's a little bit later. It's called also Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's sort of, well, it's sort of the same problem that he ran
Similar.
into.
Somebody's having a schism. I can relate to that.
So what I thought would be wonderful is to have two volunteers of our readers to be the two main characters, and then we'll just alternate the reading through it.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll be a main
Alright.
character.
Ooh,
Who's that?
Yamaha and
I can.
Volstorm.
Yamaha Volstorm.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not considered it before, but why not?
You don't even know where you are.
That's
One
true.
of
I
the-
know.
One in the
Mr. Howell.
So there we go. Who wants to take the first part?
All right. Yes.
Said the dealer.
Our windfalls are of various kinds. Some customers are ignorant. And then I touch a dividend on my superior knowledge. Some are dishonest.
And there he held up the candles so that light fell strongly on his Oh, well, hey, how about you be the part of the dealer there, Kaiser?
Okie dokie. Just start over or what?
Yeah, just start over.
All right. Yes,
said the dealer.
Our windfalls are of various kinds. Some customers are ignorant. And then I touch a dividend on my superior knowledge. Some are dishonest.
And here he held up the candle so that light fell strongly on his visitor.
And in that case,
he continued,
I profit by my virtue.
Markheim had but just entered from the daylight streets, and his eyes had not yet grown familiar with the mingled shine and darkness in the shop. At these pointed words, and before the nearest presence of the flame, he blinked painfully and looked inside. The dealer chuckled.
You come to me on Christmas Day,
he resumed,
when you know that I'm alone in my house, put up my shutters, and make a point of refusing business. Well, you will have to pay for that. You'll have to pay for my loss of time when I should be balancing my books. You know, you'll have to pay besides for the kind of manner that I remark in you today very strongly. I am the essence of discretion, and I ask no awkward questions. But when a customer cannot look me in the eye, he has to pay for it.
The dealer once more chuckled, and then, changing to his usual business voice, though still with a note of irony,
you can, as usual, a clean account of how you came into possession of the object.
He continued.
Still, your uncle's cabinet? A remarkable collector, sir.
And a little pale, round-shouldered dealer stood almost on tiptoe, looking over the top of his gold spectacles and nodding his head with every mark of disbelief. Markham returned his gaze with one of infinite pity and a touch of horror.
All right.
This is you, Markham. Yep. Ballstorm.
Yeah.
Ballstorm.
Well, I didn't know. I can't figure out what's
You're
what.
as lost as I am, man. It's so
I got
fabulous.
you.
All right. This time,
he said,
you are in error. I have not come to sell, but to buy. I have no curios to dispose of. My uncle's cabinet is bare to the wainscot, even if it were still intact. I have done well on the stock exchange and should more likely add to it than otherwise. And my errand today is simplicity itself. I seek a Christmas present for a lady.
Oh,
he
my.
continued, waxing more fluent as he struck into a speech he had prepared.
And certainly I owe you every excuse for thus disturbing you upon so small a matter, but the thing was neglected yesterday. I must produce my little compliment as dinner. And as you very well know, a rich marriage is not a thing to be neglected.
There followed a pause, during which the dealer seemed to weigh this statement incredulously, and the ticking of many clocks among the curious lumber of the shop and the faint rushing of the cabs in a near thoroughfare filled up the interval of silence.
Well, sir,
said the dealer,
Be it so. You're an old customer after all, and if, as you say, you have a chance of a good marriage, far be it for me to be an obstacle. Here's a nice thing for the lady now.
He went on.
This hand glass, 15th century warranted. It comes from a good collection too, but I reserve the name in the interest of my customer, who was just like yourself, my dear sir, the nephew and sole heir of a remarkable collector.
The dealer, while he thus ran on with his dry and biting voice, had stooped to take the object from its place, and as he had done so, a shock had passed through Markham. A start both of hand and foot, a sudden leap of many tumultuous passions to the face. He took it to the face. And it passed as swiftly as it came. It left no trace beyond a certain trembling of the hand that now received the glass.
A glass,
he said hoarsely, then paused and repeated it more clearly.
A glass for Christmas? What kind of cheap ass are you?
And why not?
Cried the dealer.
Why not a glass?
Markham was looking upon him with a indefinable expression.
You ask me, why not?
He said.
Why, look here. Look in it. Look for yourself. Do you like to see it? No, nor I, nor any man.
Well, that little man jumped back when Markham had suddenly confronted him with the mirror, but now perceiving there was nothing worse on hand, he chuckled.
Your future lady, sir, must be pretty hard favored.
I ask you, you little sumbitch, for a Christmas present, and you give me this damn reminder of years and sins and follies, this hand conscious. Did you mean it? Had you a thought in your mind? Tell me, it would be better for you if you do. Come, tell me about yourself. I hazard a guess now that you are in secret a very charitable man.
The dealer looked closely at his companion. It was very odd. Markham did not appear to be laughing. There was something in his face, like an eager spark of hope, but nothing of mirth.
What you driving at, Willis?
The dealer asked.
Not charitable?
Go ahead.
No, I thought you were going to read the rest of it.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Not charitable, not pious, not scrupulous, unloving, unbeloved, a hand to get money, a safe to keep it. Is that all? Dear God, man, is that all?
I'll sell it to you what it is. I tell you what it is.
Began the dealer with some sharpness, then broke it off again into the chuckle.
But I see this is a love match of yours, and you have been drinking to the lady's health.
Ah,
said Markham with strange curiosity.
Ah, have you been in love? Tell me that.
I
said the dealer.
I in love never had the time, nor have I the time of day is like today and all this nonsense. Will you take the glass?
Well, what's the hurry? It is very pleasant to stand here talking, and life is so short and insecure that I would not hurry away from any pleasure. No, sir! Not even from so mild as this. We should rather cling to what little we can get, like a man at the cliff's edge. Every second of humanity, hence it is best to talk pleasantly. Let us talk of each other. Why should we wear this mask? Let us be confidential. Who knows? We might even become friends. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I got just one word to say to you. Either you make the purchase or you get the hell out.
Well, true. Enough fooling, to business. Show me something else.
Well, that dealer stooped once more, this time to replace the glass upon the shelf, his thin blonde hair falling over his eyes as he did so, and Markham moved a little nearer. With one hand in the pocket of his great coat, he drew himself up, filled his lungs. At the same time, many different emotions were depicted together on his face. Terror, horror, and resolve, fascination.
What
And
horror?
a fascination, and a fascination, and a physical repulsion. And through a haggard lift of his upper lip, his teeth looked out.
This perhaps may suit.
Observed the dealer. Then as he began to re-arise, Markham bounded behind him upon his victim. He grabbed him with a long skewer-like dagger. It flashed and fell. The dealer struggled like a hen, striking his temple on the shelf, and then tumbled on the floor in a heap.
Gadzooks!
Time had some score of small voices in that shop, some stately and slow as becoming to their great age, others garrulous and hurried. All these told out of the seconds in an intricate chorus of tickings. Then the passage of a lad's feet heavily running on the pavement broke in upon these smaller voices and startled Markheim to the consciousness of his surroundings. He looked about him awfully. The candle stood on the counter, its flame solemnly wagging in a draught, and by that inconsiderable movement, the whole room was filled with noiseless bustle, and kept heaving like a sea. The tall shadows nodding, the gross blots of darkness swelling and dwindling as with respiration, the faces on the portraits and the china gods changing and wavering like images in water. The inner door stood ajar, and peered into the leaguer of the shadows with a long slit of daylight like a pointing finger.
What kind of Harry Potter crap is this?
You just entered the Twilight Zone. From the fear-stricken rovings, Markham's eyes returned to the body of his victim, where it lay both humped and sprawling.
Oh my God.
Take that, Goma pile.
All presenting and ready to go. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Somebody did.
I like it when they lie still like that.
They don't move nearly as much, and they damn sure don't resist.
Apparently, Gomer's a power bottom.
All of his life.
Oh my God.
It's better when you don't struggle.
These poor miserably clothes, it laid ungainly attitude. The dealer laid so much sawdust. Markheim had feared to see it, and lo, it was nothing. And yet, as he gazed, this bundle of old clothes and a pool of blood began to find eloquent voices. There it must lie. There was none to work the cunnings, hinges, or direct the miracle of locomotion. There it must lie till it was found I, and then when would this dead flesh lift up a cry that would ring over Elin and fill the world with the echoes of pursuit? I, dead or not, this was still the enemy. Time was that when the brains were out, he thought, and the first word struck into his mind: time. Now the deed was accomplished. Time, which had closed for the victim, had become instant and momentous for the slayer. The thought was yet in his mind when the first one and then another, with every variety of pace and voice, one deep as the bell in the cathedral turret, another ringing on its treble notes, the prelude of a waltz. The clocks began to strike the hour of 3 in the afternoon. If you want to read a little bit, Diva.
Mm. Mm.
Mm.
Hmm.
Goodbye.
Oh my, are we right here at the sudden outbreak?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh right, of course. I'm
Seems that way.
sort of on track. What a very derailed evening we've had tonight.
Yes.
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 Mm.
Inquired.
sudden- Yes. The sudden outbreak of so many tongues in that dumb chamber staggered him. He began to stir himself. Oh, but he began to bestir himself, going to and fro with the candle, beleaguered, my goodness, by moving shadows and startled to the soul by chance reflections in many rich mirrors, some of home design, some of Venice or Amsterdam. He saw his face repeated and repeated, as if an army of spies. His own eyes met and detected him, and the sound of his own steps, lightly as they fell, vexed the surrounding quiet. And still, as he continued to fill his pockets, his mind accused him with sickening irritation of the 1,000 faults of his design. He should have chosen a more quiet hour. He should have prepared an alibi. He should have not used a knife. He should have been more cautious, and only bound and gagged the dealer and not killed him. He should have been more bold, and killed the servant also. He should have done all things otherwise. Poignant regrets, weary, incessant toiling of the mind to change what was unchangeable, to plan what was now useless, to be the architect of the irrevocable past. Meanwhile, and behind all this activity, brute terrors, like the scurrying of rats in a deserted attic, my gosh, filled the more remote chambers of his brain with fright. The hand of a constable would fall heavy on his shoulder, and his nerves would jerk like a hooked fish. All he beheld in galloping defile, the dock, the prison, the gallows, and the black coffin. Terror of the people in the street sat down before his mind like a besieging army. It was impossible, he thought, but that some rumor of the struggle must have reached their ears and set on edge their curiosity. And now, all the neighboring houses, he divined them sitting motionless with an uplifted ear, solitary people, condemned to spend Christmas dwelling alone on memories of the past, and now startling recalled from that tender exercise. Happy family parties, stuck into silence around the table, the mother still with raised finger, every degree in age and humor, but all by their own hearth, prying and hearkening and weaving the rope that was to hang him. Sometimes it seemed to him that he could not move too softly. The clink of the tall bohemian goblets rang out loudly like a bell, and alarmed by the bigness of the tickling of the ticking.
I thought it said thick. I thought it said it was big and thick.
I was reading tickling, and that got me off track a little bit. That's a big tickler.
Said taint.
Taint.
He was tempted. He was tempted to stop the clocks, and then again, with a swift transition of his terrors, the very silence of the place appeared a source of peril, and a thing to strike and freeze the passerby. And he would step more boldly and bustle along among the contents of the shop and imitate with elaborate bravado the movements of a busy man at ease in his own home. But now, so pulled about by different alarms that while one portion of his mind was still alert and cunning, another trembled on the brink of lunacy, much like my own. One hallucination.
You keep that one locked in the basement.
Yeah. One hallucination in particular took a strong hold on his credulity. The neighbor hearkening with white face beside his window. The passerby arrested by a horrible surmise on the pavement. those could at worst suspect. They could not know. Through the brick walls and shuttered windows, only sounds could penetrate. But here, within the house, was he alone? He knew he was. He had watched the servant set forth, sweethearting, in his poor best out for the day, written in every ribbon and smile. Yes, he was alone, of course, and yet in the bulk of empty house above him, he could surely hear a stir of delicate footing. He was surely conscious, inexplicably conscious of some presence. Aye, surely. To every room and corner of the house his imagination followed it, and now it was a faceless thing, and yet it had eyes to see with, and again it was a shadow of himself, and yet again, behold the image of the dead dealer, re-inspired with cunning and hatred. Damn, that's hard to read.
Right?
Yeah. Oh.
If you
Man,
want to
these people are awful damn wordy.
It's got a lot of words.
Yamaha.
At times, with a strong effort, he would glance at the open door, which still seemed to repel his eyes. The house was tall, the skylights small and dirty, the day blind with fog, and the light that filtered down to the ground story was exceedingly faint, and showed dimly on the threshold of the shop. And yet, in that strip of doubtful brightness, did there not have wavering a shadow? Suddenly, from the street outside, a very jovial gentleman began to beat with a staff on the shop door.
Began to beat his staff. Good Lord.
On the door.
What kind of a shop is this?
It's a man with some power. Accompanying his blows with shouts of, "Oh my God, that hurts," and railleries in which the dealer was continually called upon
Ouch,
by
my
name.
eyeball!
Yeah. Markheim, smitten into ice, glanced at the dead man. But no, he lay quite still. He was fled away far beyond earshot of these blows and shoutings. He was sunk beneath seas of silence, and his name, which would once have caught his notice above the howling of a storm, had become an empty sound. And presently the jovial gentleman deceased from his knocking and departed. Here was a broad hint to hurry what remained to be done, to get forth from this accusing neighborhood, to plunge into a bath of London multitudes, and to reach on the other side of day, that haven of safety and apparent innocence, his bed. One visitor had come. At any moment another might follow, and be more obstinate. To have done the deed, and yet not reap the profit, would be too abhorrent to failure. The money that was now Markham's concern, and as a means to that, the keys. He
Hey, Shizzy, you're choppy.
Yeah, you're cutting out, man.
Yeah, you're like second us.
He glanced over his shoulder at the open door where the shadow was still lingering and shivering, and with no conscious repugnance.
Uh-oh.
Well, hello.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
no.
fine then.
Oh my!
Yeah, I forgot he's got to cut that out in order to fix
That's
his
one way to
He
fix
just
it.
he just got all butthurt and left.
Let's just talk about how deep that snow is, shall we?
So deep.
Oh, my
So deep.
goodness.
Yeah.
Deep.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Here.
This should be better.
And with no conscious repugnance of the mind, yet with a tremor of the belly, he drew near the body of his victim. The human character had quite departed. Like a suit half stuffed with bran, the limbs lay scattered, the trunk doubled on the floor, and yet the thing repelled him. Although so dingy and inconsiderable to the eye, he feared it might have more significance to the touch. He took the body by the shoulders and turned it on its back. It was strangely light and supple. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's not awkward at all.
Yeah.
Its back was very
Dead bodies are
supple,
actually
yes.
pretty damn heavy. It was strangely light and supple, and the limbs, as if they had been broken, fell into the oddest postures. Okay. The face was robbed of all expression, but it was as pale as wax and shockingly smeared with blood about one temple. That was, for Markheim, the one displeasing circumstance. Okay.
Oh, that's the one thing.
The only thing that bothered him, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Supple, his limbs bending in odd places. Okay.
It carried him back upon the instant to a certain fair day in a fisher's village. A gray day, a piping wind, a crowd upon the street, the blare of brasses, the booming of drums, the nasal voice of a ballad singer, and a boy going to and fro, buried overhead in the crowd and divided between interest and fear, until coming out upon the chief place of concourse. He beheld a booth and a great screen with pictures, dismally designed, garishly colored. Brown rig with her apprentice, the Mannings with the murdered guest. Where in the death grip of Thurtell, and a score of besides of famous crimes. The thing was as clear as an illusion. He was once again the little boy. He was looking once again, and with the same sense of physical revolt at these vile pictures. He was still stunned by the thumbing of drums. A bar of that day's music returned upon his memory. And at that, the first time, a qualm came over him, a breath of nausea, a sudden weakness of the joints, which he must instantly resist and conquer. All right, Volstorm, go ahead.
Yeah, Volstorm, you have at it. These people don't write the same way no more.
No, they sure don't.
Lots of these big words right here.
He judged it more prudent to confront them, to flee from these considerations. Looking the more heartily in the dead face, bending his mind to realize the nature and greatness of his crime. So little a while ago, that face had moved with every change of sentiment. The pale mouth had spoken, the body had all been on fire with governable energies, and now, and by his act, that piece of life had been arrested. As with horologist, what's a horologist?
Well, that's where you study
Is
them.
that the study of the horse?
That's a
Yeah,
study
I
of them there horse.
Okay, I didn't know they had a class on that.
As the horologist, with interjected finger, arrests the beating of the clock. The jokes write themselves.
Now I'm dead and I'm getting finger blasted too. Jeez.
Evidently, that's what happens when you
Clock
die.
enthusiast. He clicking
Little
on
fingering
them
for the dead man.
clocks.
So he reasoned in vain. He could not rise to no more remorsefulness consciousness. The same heart which had been shuddered before the painful effigies of crime looked on its reality unmoved. At best, he felt a gleam of pity for one who had been endowed in vain. Who had been endowed in vain with all those faculties that can make a world a garden of enchantment. One who had never lived and who was now dead, but a penitence, no, with a tremor. With that, shaking himself clear of these considerations, he found the keys and advanced toward the open door of the shop. Outside, it begun to rain smartly, and the sound of the shower upon the roof had banished silence. Like some dripping cavern. I'm a too dirty of a mind to read this shit.
I'm gonna stop. Okay.
The chambers of the house were haunted by an incessant echoing, which filled the ear and mingled with the ticking of the clocks. And as Markham approached the door, he seemed to hear, in answer to his own cautious tread, the steps of another foot withdrawing up the stairs. The shadow still palpitated.
It's not even a word.
Palpitated. It's palpitated.
Palpitated.
Loosely on the threshold, he threw a ton's weight of resolve upon his muscles and drew back the door. The faint, foggy daylight glimmered dimly on the bare floor and stairs. On the bright suit of armor posted, halberd in hand, upon the landing, and on the dark wood carvings, a framed pictures that hung against the yellow panels of the wainscot. So loud was the beating of the rain through all the house that in Markham's ears it began to be distinguished into many different sounds. Footsteps and sighs, the tread of regiments marching in the distance, the chink of money in the counting, and the creaking of the doors held stealthily ajar, appeared to mingle with the pattern of the drops upon the cupola. Cupola?
Coppola.
Cupola.
Francis Ford.
Francis Ford Coppola.
It was a
No, it's
cupola on the
Coppola is the guy's name. Cupola is actually a structure on the top of the house, like
Coppola, Coppola Cabana.
and when I got a banana.
And the gushing of the water in the pipes. Well, now,
If you're hearing a gushing,
if you're hearing a gushing, you've done a good job, son. The sense that he was not alone grew upon him to the verge of madness. On every side, he was haunted and begirt by presences. He heard them moving in the upper chambers from the shop. He heard the dead man getting to his legs, and he began with a great effort to mount the stairs. Feet fled quietly before him and followed stealthily behind him. If he were but deaf, he thought, how tranquilly he would possess his soul. And then again, and hearkening with every fresh attention, he blessed himself for that unresisting sense which held the outpost and stood a trusty sentinel upon his life. His head turned continually on his neck, his eyes, which seemed starting from their orbits, scouted on every side, and on every side were half rewarded with the tale of something nameless vanishing. The 24 steps to the first floor were 24 agonies.
But Lord Almighty.
I think
All
what
right.
Shizzy's doing, he secretly is a high school English teacher, and he's having us read.
No, okay, this is why I sat in the back of the classroom so I wouldn't have to read this shit.
He's having us read aloud.
I was going to say, how much longer is this?
Good Lord Almighty. He just goes on forever.
I'm just going to take a nap here in between readings.
Jesus, oh, Christ Almighty.
You picked a long one, Shizzy.
I did
A
pick a
real
long
long
one.
one.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Oh,
It's the
my.
greatest.
Short story, my ass.
It was supposed to be a short story.
Supposed to be.
Yeah, I was
don't
going to
have-
say, you didn't
thought
check
something
that
about
one
a
before.
pearl.
did you?
Look, I've read Shakespeare that was less complex than this.
I'm an idiot. I can't help it.
I say some people is just naturally wordy, and then some people just need to be like, no, just throttle them, and they're short.
That's the way they were back then, man.
Yeah, they were.
I
They were
run
a
into
lot.
that a lot with a lot of my stories. I'm like,
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you do.
fuck
They-
that.
Verbose.
Verbose, yes. That's a lovely word.
Yeah, I do apologize.
We call it
okay,
wordy.
Oh,
Shizzy.
you're fine.
It
It's
was
no
good.
big deal.
No, you didn't know.
That's fine.
Good practice, too, to remember how
gosh.
ignorant I am. That's really.
You're not ignorant. You're
I'm like, oh,
Right.
damn.
The pain behind my eye will stop and the nosebleed as well. So
This is what I get for reading it
eventually
my
they
own
go away.
voice.
oh my Lord Almighty. Oh my Lord Almighty. I need to vet these things a little bit better. Speaking of vetting these a little bit better, I was talking with my guests earlier, and I may, behind the scenes, see, everyone thinks we talk all dirty.
You said you weren't going to talk about that.
And so my plan is with this is to possibly do every other week, so I can have time to get the stories together, and that way we come together here, and it doesn't get so confusing for you folks and make us like want to pull our teeth out with pliers.
Basically, we on strike until Shizzy can figure out some better material for us to read.
Get your
Okay.
shit together. I ain't punching in again.
So next week we won't be doing a Sunday Spice. We will be off doing wonderful other things, but we will follow it up the following week with a really good set of stories that will titillate, tantallate, and capitulate or something like that.
Ooh, titillate. You got my attention.
And
You said titties.
And
moisten the room.
Yeah, we need to have some moistening stories. We need to get into the. We need to get some more of them spicy novels by T.J. Finn. That's what we're needing.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of spicy novels, has everybody seen Diva's new intro? Well, you're going to see it again.
Drop that bass. Coming in hot. Ladies and gentlemen, Dictionary Diva.
I
love that.
Yes.
I love that. And I'm like, you almost capture with all those visuals like every personality that I have, except for the bag lady one. You know that.
Damn it! Damn it!
Oh, no.
You have diva in the mountains. You have diva by the water. You have diva in the city. You have diva doing an evening.
Diva in the club.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Diva did
There's
have.
a couple of them. There's a couple of them divas I ain't seen in a while. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying there was
Long
one
Storm
diva
is
there
a
that
lucky
looked
man.
like a bad lady. It was the bag lady. I'm just saying she did have a nice handbag. Of course, you might have not noticed it because you were looking at her legs, but that's okay.
Yeah. That's I was. But yeah.
Yep.
Some of those shots, it doesn't matter how far down I bend. I just can't quite. I just can't quite see.
Can't quite see what you're looking for.
So, what do you have going on this week, Diva?
Work, like real life 3D work, and then I have absolutely nothing planned. Nothing
Well, except for your evenings.
except for
Hanging out.
do I have a date, Shizzy, with you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
I didn't know if that
No,
invitation would be
You got
extended
stuff to
again.
read.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So next
It won't be
week-
nearly as complicated as this shit was.
Oh, that's
No.
true.
no, not at all. But yeah, so next week we'll plan on about the same time if that
Sweet.
works for you.
Yeah,
at
we'll
10
do it.
o'clock. And if if we end up with, there's a possibility we may end up with some more news on Monday. Just because Monday's going to be a crazy day. That is going to be when the
Everybody goes back to work.
Yeah.
well, not only that everybody goes back to work, but you've got the count that's going to be happening with the official count of votes to have our next president and put in place.
Oh yeah.
So we'll just see how the day works out. You'll know by at least noon tomorrow if it's gone to hell and I have different things to report.
Oh, that'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
I know, because they are thinking about having to not meet for the official count.
Well,
'Cause-
actually, there's been quite a few of them that are like, hey, this is coming, but you all need to get your butts to DC
Yeah,
so we
just
can
fly in.
certify.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that looks like that's going to be happening tomorrow, and we'll just see how things go throughout the day. If it looks like I've got news to cover, then I'll cover that instead. But you'll still have the invite because once I set it up, it'll be set up. you know.
Sweet.
I'll like I said, I'll know by the time by the time that we start what exactly we're going to be doing.
Okay. Okay.
And
Hopefully, I won't be a space cadet tomorrow. Hopefully, brain cells will work.
Yeah. Sorry, I was late. Say, I had to put the kid to bed.
Oh no, don't worry. What do you have going on this next week, Kaiser?
So right now we are in kind of the January lull for entertainment news. There's still things happening. There's a few things to report, but right now it's that really slow time of year. And thankfully this year, Kaiser's got something else to do during the times that there might not be as much news going on. So expect plenty more streams of trucking and maybe some more of the power wash simulator variety, as well as maybe a little bit more of the old space, command over in Elite Dangerous. So we'll be doing some gaming. I know that whenever I do have news to report, I will definitely be getting that out there over on Kaiser Pineapple, giving you guys the news you need to know to keep you up to date on the entertainment and pop culture sphere.
Absolutely. And Yamaha, you got any stories coming up?
Working on a couple, kind of doing some rewrites, and then, so, but I'm not sure exactly when it'll come out.
On Volstorm, any bodies that you have to bury this week?
We don't discuss that on the air. Okay.
Forgot. I'm sorry.
My bad.
The last one.
I
was
told
so
you that in confidence.
Yeah, it's a dead subject.
Yes, sorry. Shh. And when you guys, if you haven't subbed up to these fine folks, make sure you just go in there, sub up to them, and there's a reason. There's a reason why I have this panel on Monday. They all, in their own rights, have something to offer that I can't offer you because I am limited as it is. So go check out their stuff. Diva, it does some wonderful art, reading, stories. Yamaha tells wonderful stories, and you can't miss his voice. Of course, Kaiser gives you all the news and entertainment that is happening throughout the entertainment fields, and it's completely different than all of the stuff that I cover. And of course, Volstorm, he likes to torture me slowly with bamboo sticks, and
I'm the one that keeps you awake in the morning. Are you kidding me?
That is true. He does keep me awake in the morning. Oh my God,
Lord, it's like you ought to have a hazard recommendation when I'm driving somewhere. Jeez.
I should have a hazard. And I'll hit this one really quick. Skipper came in with a super sticker for 99
Nice.
cents. And Wendy Bono helped
Wendy.
my favorite panel of characters. Yes, Wendy. And I did put a sticker on there before everything started crapping out with my audio. Thank you so much, both of you. And this isn't your normal Sunday. It's been a little crazy and hectic, but we're, like I said, next Sunday we won't have one. Just make sure you're subbed up to it, and you'll get the notifications whenever we go live next week. Thank you guys so very much, and we will see you.
Thank you guys.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate you.
Later.
Bye.
and y'all be safe out there in the